And we are on video 3 of 4, going over the characters from the beta, give you guys a preview of what some of the gameplay is like, some of the abilities that they've got, and just kind of doing a deep dive into the characters. I did a full kind of preview talking about what I hope for the story and the gameplay and the missions and just kind of the overall feel from the beta, everything I put together. That's a separate video, so if you guys want to see that one, link will be in the description and also at the end so you guys can look for that one specifically. And then, of course, for these videos, I'm just doing a deep dive into each character. So now we are on Iron Man. Now, for each character, they have a kind of ultimate ability. They have a kind of an assault ability, more of an attack one, and then a support ability. And these are as follows for Iron Man. Hulkbuster is the Iron Man one. Now, this one's got a couple things to it. You can press L1 and R1 together to equip the armor. So you just jump inside, damage absorbed by the armor, taking damage or attacking will decrease the time the Hulkbuster can remain active before it is automatically shut down. If you press L1 inside the Hulkbuster to forcibly eject staggering nearby enemies. Alternatively, if you hold that and use like the right stick, you can position it to remotely place the Hulkbuster deployment. Once deployed, any strike team member can utilize the platform to equip the Hulkbuster. So you can actually deploy this for your allies to use. Maybe you want maybe Black Widow busting up some heavy guy on the ground while you're in the air shooting down some other stuff. Can be a cool way to kind of work both sides. The assault ability is the Unibeam. Basically, it's the big giant chest beam of energy that pierces through enemies. So if you line up quite a few of them, do the beam, you're going to take down a whole bunch. And, or if you just have like, a medium health enemy, kind of a mini boss guy, you can dump a fair amount of concentrated damage in a short period of time. Finally, we've got the support heroic energy burst that stuns nearby enemies. Teammates caught are also armored. So it's a nice way to stun and armor your enemies that are nearby, kind of giving you a little extra health and kind of a shutdown of some enemies for a second if things are getting a little crazy in the moment. So now let's look at the skill trees. Now, again, as I've said in the other videos, this is just the primary skill tree. My understanding is there's going to be at least 2 more, so like a specialty and a mastery skill tree. Don't know what those look like. I've seen a couple screenshots and little clips from other videos. I'm not going to steal anybody else's footage. But the idea here is that this is just a start. There potentially is like 8 other trees, just like each of the, like there's 4 here. There could be 2 more pages of 4 more trees. So there's potentially a lot to dive into. You might be able to specialize pretty deeply in how you play it. That being said, I don't know how many skill points you're going to be able to get, so if you can't get everything, your character may play completely different than someone else's. Especially with Iron Man, you're able to kind of vary how you play quite a bit. So you've got your melee first, just punching with your, armor, just kind of throwing some punches out there. 4 punches is kind of a combo. Last hit does inflict significant damage and knock somebody into the air. Now, if you hold the light attack, you perform a thrust-assisted uppercut that breaks blocks and launches enemies in the air, which is nice. Anything to break those shields is really, really helpful and break blocks. Now, the aerial assault, while you're in the air, you can mid-dash forward and then also start pumping out a chain of attacks on enemies and then knock them back towards the ground, which is really nice to take somebody out of the air. Now, the power dive, while you're in the air, press and hold that in midair will dive down. It will break shields and blocks, which is helpful there. And then the dive amplifier increases the impact, stun damage, and reaction severity of power dive. Also, the affected area of effective power dive is increased by 35%. So a bigger, like basically blast radius when you land and breaking more blocks. Now, when it comes to the heavies, this is the way Iron Man works fairly differently. The heavy attacks are going to be based on what you have equipped. You have his repulsors, which is kind of his like, jets that he has from his hands. You've got lasers, and then you've also got rockets. And depending on what you have equipped as your ranged weapon is also going to affect how it plays for your heavy attacks. So take the repulsors, for example. You start here. You can actually aim and just shoot like the little repulsor blast out. You can also charge it up and get like more of a kind of beefier attack if you hold the charge down and then let it go as a big projectile. So this is kind of what I was talking about. So with the repulsors equipped, hold R to aim, and then hold it to charge it up the blast and inflict extra damage. Also will break shields. Now over here is where it's talking about the heavy attacks. So you notice he's shooting those little repulsor blasts out, and if you throw 4 in a row, it's a 4-hit heavy attack with all the repulsors. Now if you come down here with the repulsors equipped, hold that to auto-target and fire a repulsor shot at nearby enemies. And you're just able to kind of auto-target and hit something, and the fact that it's actually going to take down the shields is, believe me, really helpful. Come down here, you'll do 3 attacks, and then the light one will actually break the block. So 1, 2, 3, and then the blast kind of towards his feet will break through defenses as well. This one over here, while sprinting, you'll kind of do a auto target, blast somebody up in the air, and then finally down here, while dodging, you'll perform an evasive spin that quickly fires back-to-back repulsor blasts and will do a decent amount of damage. Excuse me. Now, this is where I say it changes. Now, you can have the repulsors equipped, or you can have lasers equipped, or you can have rockets equipped. Now, if you have the lasers, your ranged attack is truly a laser beam. Now, it's not as fast as some at, like, you know, if I shoot a repulsor blast out, 1 or 2, and it's probably going to take something out. I got to keep this locked on an enemy for a little while to do a decent amount of damage. The longer a laser is held on an enemy, the more damage it will inflict. So keep it there longer, it will do more. Come down here, while lasers are equipped, press and hold that to power up the laser, allowing the beam to pierce enemy targets and deal additional damage. So you can actually go through enemies with this one and then actually get more damage out of it. Now, this is where I was talking about when your heavy attacks look completely different. So you can see here with the lasers equipped, when I press the heavy attack, he's now shooting lasers that go around, they stun damage, they pierce through enemies, and it's a big sweeping attack that is lower damage, but is definitely going to knock more enemies around. Come over here, the laser Scythe, kind of his airborne attack. It's like 1, 2, 3 laser attacks while in the air. Come down here, with the laser equipped, press and hold it in midair to unleash both lasers simultaneously, kind of doing a big sweeping attack from straight below your feet forward, and will also break blocks. Now that is a big sweeping attack right there. That's the Whirlwind Tempest, and that's your big charging heavy attack, and that will break through blocks as well. Big sweeping laser attack. Picture Iron Man 2. Now, a couple things that I haven't got yet. You've got the laser attack strike, so it's 1, 2, 3, and then kind of a big laser spin to break blocks next to you. Then also, while dodging, you get a nice little laser slide, 2 little laser sweeps. So if you're running into a group, you're able to kind of stun them a little bit, stagger them, and then kind of jump into who you want to attack. Final way to fight is rockets. Now, these are pretty sick. So this is just going to fire a rocket. It's going to break block. Now, they are slow. You are able to aim them, though, which is actually pretty badass. Come down here. While the rockets are equipped, you're able to target them onto multiple enemies, and then when you back up, you're able to fire them out, and then they're able to attack and almost like stagger and pop enemies into the air. Come over here, you do Scorched Earth while rockets are equipped. Just press the button, and it'll fire a quick fire rocket at the most direct target. With rockets equipped, hold that to fire rockets steadily, and basically juggles them in the air for quite a long time. And then finally here you got 1, 2, 3, and then you can fire a rocket that will break a block and shoot some dude way the hell off in the distance. Now the final piece is while dodging, you kind of pull back and then shoot homing rockets at nearby enemies as well. So for a couple more enemies that we're going to try the counterfire just to see what that one looks like. And then also for the lasers, we're just going to try the dodge. So I'm going to go back into the harm room and boot up this one and show you guys the different abilities. And remember, this is just primary. There are special and mastery trees. I'm very curious what those are going to hold, so stay tuned for future videos on those. If you guys want to see what those are all about, definitely hit the follow button, the alert bell, and you guys will get new videos as I get more information to you. So let's jump into that harm mission, just level 1, so I can demo all these attacks for you guys. What I need to do, still hovering up here, and then you can start flying around, pretty decent mobility, pretty smooth stuff. And again, you got a decent amount of control. You can also come up here and slam to the ground. There's always ways to get down. Flying overall feels pretty good. Kind of feels the way Anthem honestly did. Now, the heavier attacks are where things change. Iron Man's heavy attacks are going to be right now using the repulsors, but if I go up top, I can switch to lasers or rockets. But for now, we're going to start with repulsors. So, this is like the big charge, and this is like the 4 heavy attack. Now, if I want to knock somebody out who's got a shield, I'm going to do the charge up attack. Same thing if I want to aim it from far away. Probably how I'm going to do it for like the attacks, but if I just want that quick shot, that's some easy range shots, that's the way I'll do it. Now again, if you jump up in the air, same thing. Fire up here. And again, you can be in the air, aim down if you want to. And get a nice big charge. Now on the other side, lasers are going to look very different. Lasers, as I sit here and charge it up, I'm able to, like, you know, draw that line of damage, hurt stuff that's sitting in front of me. The longer I hold it on it, the better it's going to do. as I do the heavy attack, this is where it looks completely different. Now I'm able to put this combo together. And again, as I dodge, get a nice little double swing. Very, very cool with the lasers. So they're very effective. Lower damage, per se, for each touch that they do. You're going to have to do more with them, but for staggering enemies, and you could even, like, jump in, do a double swing, and then switch over to repulsors, and then start going for a little more high focus damage on one enemy. You can switch mid-fight. Turn over here, fire a rocket. Now I'm on rockets. Rockets are going to feel different. They're going to be your highest single shot damage, so if you got, like, a turret that you need to hit, one shot, blast, and it's down. Same thing over there. Pretty easy to aim. Nice thing about Iron Man, I can sit up here depending on how much I'm being attacked. Come up here, fire, fly around here, take out a couple airborne guys. Do lots of damage, turn off my jets, land down, and then get to sprinting. Now the nice thing is if I'm going for the heavy, that's just those rocket attacks. But again, the rockets use a decent amount of energy, so you are going to be somewhat limited in how frequently you can use them. Still looks pretty cool overall, right? I would say all of them do. Alright, so let me get these guys going in here so you guys can see me in action.
Enemies engaged, y'all!
We're going to start with repulsors. Just my standard light attacks. Fly around, see who I can find. Basic triple punches. Now again, he's going to have more of a parry attack as well. If I put up that shield and I time it right, I'm actually going to be able to parry some attacks and get a bit of a stun attack off. But his quick parry is that little shield that he pops up in front. The timing's got to be fairly tight for that one to be effective. See if he'll come at me. The light guys are pretty easy to knock around, but like this one, for example, I want to take this guy out. Gotta actually aim it though. I'll take most of the damage. Fly right up here, land, and finish him off. And then if I want to come down for this guy, quick slam, stagger him down, bust him up, and he's good to go. So Iron Man's got some really good mobility. He's kind of a nice way to go find secret areas. He's going to be easier to get to for those because there's no crazy jumping. Fly to him, he's going to feel a little more like Thor with the flight. That dude is dead. He took a rock from Hulk in the face.
Okay, less talky, more fighty.
Now, if I can line up a few enemies, the nice thing that I can do is hit this Unibeam. Just gotta try and line some of them up.
I'm beaming with pride.
I can pierce through, get a decent amount of damage on those guys. You'll see decent damage numbers. So that's the actual stun. So when I do that parry and you see that yellow around it, that means I actually stagger them. Not, again, I'm still working on the timing. So many different parry games. There's that stagger right there. And that's the nice little blast finish in the bottom. That's the repulsors. Now I want to switch over to lasers for this next wave. Show you guys what those look like. And it depends on what I'm fighting. If I'm fighting like bigger enemies that I want to melt the health on, that's one thing. But it's like the lasers are less effective on those guys. But if I got big guys that I want to kind of get these sweeping attacks on,
I gotta be with it.
it's really cool just to like absolutely just clean sweep these guys. It's like it's less effective on those. But you can see when I get these big swirling sweep attacks, it takes a lot of guys out at once, which is really nice for cleaning an area. Hang tight, see who spawns. So again, I'll do more damage the longer I hold it on one guy. So if I can get some lasers going here. Ow, and not die. That's why sometimes a little easier with other characters. Got a little health back.
Feeling pretty crappy.
Again, this is the easier mode. Not always easy though. Cool effects though. I could really use some health.
Don't worry, enough of me to go around.
And got knocked out. Never said I was perfect at the game. Still getting used to kind of all the parries and combat and all those pieces.
You're done.
But the number of enemies that you can hit while you do all of these is so cool.
I'm in some trouble here.
I really need to get some of those parries and staggers going. Probably playing a little too much melee style with him. Probably don't need to be as much in the mix. Now the nice thing about this is if I fly around, I can just... I can actually fly around and not even have to aim at him and still get some of those lasers to go. Let's see if I can do that on this next wave. Not always the easiest of timings.
Anyone else?
Let's get him to spawn and then see if I can get this going.
This is how we do it. I'm in some trouble here. Why did you guys take a
Now that's
break?
my stun right there, which is really good for basically just shutting everybody down for a second, giving me a chance to get some health back here.
Oh, pal.
And now we're going to switch over to
This will
rockets.
hurt.
And those rockets do really good at, like, for one, blowing people up in the air.
Feeling pretty
They'll break a
crappy.
shield in basically one shot. And also, if you have any ranged enemies, you're going to take them out fairly easily. And also blow them clean off platforms, usually. That was apparently a headshot on that guy. I need health, which it's probably a good time to bust out the Hulkbuster, which is a fun way to go. Now, the different ways that you can use the Hulkbuster, I can either just press it and then spawn it right on me,
Hey, where did this thing come from?
which is just freaking awesome. And the more damage, the more times I swing, the more damage I take. But I'm able to like break most shields, pick up guys, chuck them around. Nice big sweeping cleave attacks.
See ya.
Now the nice thing is his projectile, if I launch it, is actually, if I charge it up, I get more energy back apparently. I honestly haven't even used this thing that many times, but it's a really cool way. You're not really going to lose any health by doing it. And definitely tons of damage. As you pick up and slam enemies into the ground, fly around like a bit of a beast. Pick up one guy, slam him into another. Overall, very cool. And then when you're done, it's kind of gone. Make sure you got some health, see what's coming next. One rocket, two rockets, and they're done. I don't know if that dude's dead or not. So again, you have 3 different playstyles with just this character alone. If you go heavy into rockets versus... And then as you fly around, you're able to dodge.
Oh, pal.
This guy, slam down, get some shields, combo attack with him, pop him in the air for some juggles. Another finisher, of course. Now the nice thing is if I go rockets, I can charge up, lock on a few of these guys. And blow up all of those guys around there. Now the juggling is where it gets to be fun. Just sit up here and launch them. Finisher on him, give him a knee. Fairly cool stuff. Go back to some laser mode, just for the big sweeps. Last wave, here we go. We got some bigger guys. I can eventually break the shield once it's powerful enough, just melting this guy down.
Why did you choose the wrong side?
Switch over, go Repulsor. There we go, there's a parry. Too many guys. Alright, well.
Don't look directly at the beam, kid!
And then I can still turn around, take some rockets, fly in the air, shoot him at this guy. Totally blast the big boy. And this gets hit hard. Like, 3 of those rockets was a good chunk of that guy's health. He's got a bit more health than the other. Both just chunking giant pieces of earth at him over here. And we are good.
The enemies
So
have
Iron
been
Man
defeated.
actually has a lot of variety. I wasn't sure about him at first, but he's definitely quite a bit of variety to his playstyle. Overall, definitely can see multiple playstyles, the rockets, the lasers, and then the repulsors, getting you in and out of different situations. If I'm like coming up on like, you know, a little group of enemies and there's a couple defensive turrets on a wall, I'll shoot the rockets at them first and then switch over to repulsors once I'm actually getting into the middle of the fight. It's a very, very fun character to play with. Overall, enjoyed him quite a bit, and yeah, that's Iron Man. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. As I said, if you enjoyed the video, I'll have more Avengers footage coming. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you're new to the channel, typically cover a lot of Destiny 2, but as this is kind of a looter action shooter type thing, might be in your realm as well. And you can find me on Twitch and Twitter. It's Ebontis on both. And right here, if you, as I said, enjoyed the video, drop a like below, leave a comment if you had any thoughts about the beta, who was your favorite character, any cool abilities you thought, and just in general, your thoughts about the game. Thank you all very much. I will see you guys in the next one. One more character to go. I will see you tomorrow for Black Widow. Have a good one. Adios.